it's designed to take someone from being a company driver to then a leased-on owner-operator to eventually becoming an owner-operator under their own authority.
Welcome back to Landline Now. In October, OOIDA will be hosting its annual Truck to Success seminar. Over the next several weeks leading up to it, we're going to walk you through a good portion of those sessions, which will do two things. For one, it's going to give you a better idea of what's to be gained by attending Truck to Success. And two, you might just learn a few things along the way as well. Over the next several minutes, we're going to go over the basics of Truck to Success, such as what is it, who's it for, and what will you get out of it. With answers to all those questions and more, we are joined here in Studio A by three men who are featured prominently throughout the three-day seminar. Lewie Pugh, Executive Vice President of OOIDA, along with Andrew King and Charles Sperry, both of the OOIDA Foundation. Gentlemen, welcome. Good to see you.
Great to be here.
Yes, thank you.
Good to be here.
Lots to get over here. Let's start with the basics, though, for those who may not be familiar, and I'm sure there are a few folks out there who are not. What is Truck to Success? And, again, who's it for?
Well, it's a 3-day seminar, and it's designed to take someone from being a company driver to then a leased-on owner-operator to eventually becoming an owner-operator under their own authority. So it covers all the gambit of that. It's very deep, very detailed, and it's like drinking from a water hose. Just a lot of information in that short time frame to, again, just following this logical progression to become an owner-operator. And then we do have people who join who aren't necessarily company drivers. They're already owner-operators. So it's anyone who's looking to improve their business, to become more successful. We're trying to cover all of those things.
No water hose, though.
I would almost say fire hose.
Fire hose, water, yeah,
Fire
okay,
hose.
there you
Yeah,
go.
thank you. That's
My dog drinks out of a garden hose, just saying.
That's the phrase.
You will have bottled water, though, at the
Yes.
at the Truck Success. That's how.
OOIDA bottled water.
There it is. There you go. Very fantastic. So, Andrew, and that's why I mentioned there, we're going to talk about all these sessions here over the next several weeks to kind of give people an idea of what they're going to get out of it. And, Andrew, you do a pretty good job there of explaining what is covered. And there's a lot of stuff that's covered there. Briefly here, can you run us through the 3 days? Again, all the things that are being taught there, who's doing the teaching, and most importantly here, I think, what is going to be learned? And you kind of alluded to it there, Andrew, as well, but this is for anybody who wants to either start their own business or wants a refresher, right, Lewie?
Yeah, a refresher. Maybe maybe you bought a truck and you're leased and you're thinking about getting your own authority, because we go all through all that as well. So, yeah, that gives you the opportunity to kind of come in and find out, do you really want to get your own authority, or are you better off staying being leased to a motor carrier?
Because there are people that come in that completely change their mind too, right?
We've had lots of people come in. I mean, it's kind of funny. The first day, we're going to own 20 trucks when we're done. And by the last day, that same person's like, I got a really good job where I'm at. I think I'll just stay there.
Which is fine.
Which is fine.
Yeah,
I saw a guy at Louisville last year at Matson. He was one that took it, and he thanked me so much because he is not even in trucking now. He's selling truck componentry, and he's like, I am so glad I took your course because it saved me so much money and saved me from going down the wrong road, and I wouldn't have been a good owner-operator, and it wasn't like being an owner-operator wasn't everything I thought it was and what people told me it was, and I'm glad I did, and it worked out so much, so thank you so much. So, yeah.
Yeah, but on the other side of that too, there are people that go there.
Yes,
that are
Don't
going.
forget that part.
Yeah, that's the important part, right? Because there are people, and there are people out there listening right now who may be thinking about going out on their own, and to say that that is a big task is an understatement. There's a lot to be learned, a lot to know, right?
It's a huge task, and I tell everybody there's no book out there, Trucking for Dummies or Becoming a Trucking Company for Dummies, and it's very, very hard, and there's so much misinformation. And I know, I bought my truck in 1994, my first truck, so there was no internet, nowhere like that to search anything, and it was just sort of you had to talk to people, kind of learn as you went. Fortunately, I was smart enough to surround myself with owner-operators that were successful and get information from them. But you're still a big learning curve there. There's a huge learning curve.
Yeah.
And by taking Truck to Success, you take so much of that out of there. You don't have all the misinformation or the truck stop lawyers or all these other people out there telling you. These are people people from both in-house at OOIDA or, partners of OOIDA or stuff like that who have years and years and years and years of experience in the field that they are talking about, and they're giving you the truth. And sometimes it's not going to be what you want to hear, but at the end of the day, it is the truth, and this is how you have to do and what you have to do to be successful and be compliant.
Yeah, what you want to hear and what you need to hear are two different things. And when you're doing something like this, the stuff you need to hear is far more important than what you want to hear, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And there's a lot of that, there's a lot of that, right?
And this goes to a question we often get asked is, what's the success rate of this seminar? Well, that's a really difficult question because it's going to look different to each person, right? So what Lewie explained before is a success, as well as someone who does end up getting their own authority and they find that information that they need to do that. Those are both successes. But when it comes to, listening to someone who, and Lewie kind of talked about this, the experts. These are people mostly from OOIDA, but we also have some people from outside of our building, experts in other fields like taxes and things like that. We even have pre-pass as well, who talk about different elements of trucking. So you're getting the information right from the people who do it day in and day out. You're not getting it from, some kind of source that may be a little bit questionable. So you're getting that right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, and we have enforcement come in, talk about what DOT's looking for, stuff like that, and your back office. There's just so much to this. And there's, everybody thinks I buy a truck and I get on a load board and start hauling some loads.
There's a lot of people that think that.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and unfortunately, we get a lot of calls in here from members or maybe people that aren't members who become members because they thought that they bought trucks and now they're out here and they're struggling. Our compliance department deals with this almost on a daily basis. And that's part of the reason we structured this and came out with this Truck to Success program, was to try to alleviate that and help people. And I can't stress enough, buying a truck is probably one of the most expensive things you're ever going to do in your life, maybe second to your home, maybe more than your home. My first truck cost more than my first home. So it's very, very expensive to get into this business. I know there's some expense with coming to Truck to Success, but the thing is, spend a little bit of money to make sure you either A, you even want to do this and spend a lot of money, or B, spend a little bit of money to come back and be successful so you can make a whole lot of money.
And I wanted to point that out because the idea of this, it's 3 days, but if there is somebody that is making that leap and taking that step, this is really a step-by-step plan for being successful, right? You start with creating a business plan, which we're going to talk about next time, all the way through, again, purchasing a truck, getting your authority, all the paperwork, the taxes, everything. So if you're looking to do this is going to take you step by step through that process, right? That's the idea here.
100%. And the other thing I want to say, because this happens with a lot of these seminars, but ours isn't this way. We're not selling you nothing.
Yeah.
We're not pushing a product on you. We're not pushing OOIDA products over this person. Our partners are coming. They're not pushing that. This is straight up all informational stuff. There's no infomercials or anything like that happen at a lot of things like this. You pay and you get a little bit of information and you get a whole lot of stuff more that they want to sell you. That isn't how this works. This is to teach you, because at OOIDA, we care about truckers. We want truckers to be successful. And that's all this is training to be successful.
And another thing, too, and you mentioned it there, this is a good networking opportunity as well, right? Because when you go to this, you're going to have questions. There are going to be things that are not going to make sense, and you're going to wonder, how do I fit into this? Those people, those experts are right there in the building, in the room, really, to answer those questions and really give you a step-by-step, personalized kind of recommendations to do the things the right way, right?
Yeah, one of the most interesting things that I've seen time and time again is that, especially at like truck shows and stuff like that, people come up and talk to you, and the ones that have come up and spoken about their experience of Truck to Success, one of the primary things that they've always talked about is the fact that they were right there with other people, making face-to-face contact with experts in the industry, and they were able to talk to them about their specific problems that they may have faced. Maybe it's a problem that everybody faces, or maybe it's a problem that's just unique to their own experience. Regardless, they were actually able to talk to these people and get the answers that they needed. And I think that one of the things that we tend to forget, especially in our very digital age, where everybody's connected online and whatnot, that face-to-face connection is incredibly important, both in business, if you're talking to a broker and trying to make that business connection, or trying to talk to a shipper and secure your own little lane. That face-to-face connection is just invaluable. It's something that you cannot replace just looking at a video on a screen.
Yeah. And then the conversations, I've sat in these before, and the conversations that are generated from one question, it really is, there's a lot of value in that, because everybody's learning from that process as well. So that's also valuable.
Yeah, it's very valuable. And another nice thing is, sometimes you don't think of your question right at the time that somebody's talking. So like later on during the day or the next day, even if you thought of something like, hey, I wanted to ask this person, that person's usually right here. Or if not, they're not there, they're at the building. We can get them back in touch with the right person to get that question answered correctly if we can't answer it ourselves.
Well, and the other networking thing is not just networking with the experts that are teaching it, but also with each other.
Yeah, exactly.
There's actually a lot of benefit just there. A lot of these guys and gals are coming from different parts of the country, and just sharing their stories, sharing their experiences makes everyone better. So there's that element as well.
Especially in times like these, when the environment is so challenging, right? And if you're thinking about taking this step, those conversations become more and more helpful along the way. Lewie, I wanted to ask you something, because you mentioned that you talk about this actually a lot when you talk about this seminar and other things. There is no Trucking for Dummies book, right?
Right.
And you wish that there were something like this when you were starting out, because you think it would have helped you along the way. How do you think, and maybe there wouldn't have been much change, but do you think your days on the road would have been any different, early days in particular, if you had attended something like Truck to Success? Yeah,
I feel like that, Fortunately, I was successful and made it, but I feel like the first few years I pretty much lived hand to mouth and didn't have any much extra, and just, hoping to get those loads delivered and make sure if something happened, there was enough money in the bank account to pay for it. I used to joke that it seemed like every time I got a little money saved, something broke, and then there it all went. And, it just seemed like it took a long time to finally, get a foundation or get a basis and then build. And I feel like that would have gotten speeded up a little quicker. I bought my first truck when I was 22 years old, and I was a dumb kid and didn't know much. But, fortunately, I had a good work ethic, and I had good people I surround myself with. But there's still stuff you don't know, or you're not sure. The state of Missouri taught me a hard lesson about being compliant and having this thing called a single state registration. I didn't know what the hell it was.
Yeah.
I just took a load, and I'm going to Colorado. And I get to Missouri, and they're like, where's your single state registration?
You're like, huh?
I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what that is. $1,000 later, buddy, I knew what it was.
Yep. And again, those are the things that you're going to learn through the seminar. Real quick here, I just want to make sure that people know there are two ways to attend, right? In person, virtually. Walk us through that, and then walk us through the deadlines that we need to know about.
So they can go to trucktosuccess.com, and there you can find the registration for either or. You'll fill out whether you're going to do it in person or whether you're going to do it online. In person, of course, is a little bit more expensive because we help pay for the breakfast and the lunch and the snacks and that sort of thing. You can also bring a guest. But the deadline to register for in person is October 1st. For online is October 21st. And then don't forget that there is an early bird special September 1st where you will get $50 off plus a year's free membership as well.
The seminar running for 3 days starting October 22nd in Blue Springs, Missouri. Truck2Success.com is the website. Go check it out. Charles, Andrew, Lewie, appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you.
We'll see you.